Hey guys, welcome to another video. My name is Ivar. Today I'm going to talk about my ayahuasca experience, the preparation for it, what you should think about as well if you're considering doing it, and what I went through and some of the stuff afterwards and what's happened later as well. If you think that's interesting, I think you should have a look at this video. Okay, cool. So yeah, I wanted to do this video. It's about 2 years ago. I did ayahuasca. I've been referencing it in other videos, but I'm not really in depth talked about it. So I'm thinking this is for someone that is considering doing it. So I'm going to give you like the skinny on my experience, what I thought about it before, after, what I prepared for, stuff like this, because it's a pretty heavy experience. Like Tim Ferriss, he talked about it once as doing like a brain surgery. So you want to prepare, like you want to be sure that when you're doing brain surgery, you want to be sure that you actually want to do it. Um, so let's kick it off. So about 2 years ago, I decided to do that. I was in a situation where I felt I needed clarity. I tried to read a lot of books, philosophy, and I couldn't penetrate. I couldn't really find answers that I was looking for. And psychedelics and ayahuasca is something I'd heard a lot about before. Like Joe Rogan and all that stuff. He had a lot of guests on, most notably Amber Lyon, former CNN journalist that discovered psychedelics and now it's kind of like devoting her life to it and helping people, educating people. And also, the name escapes me now, a British guy. He did, anyway. Yeah, so I read a lot about it, and I decided that I was always interested in it, but I never like it's a pretty big step, because you're venturing into something different. So you really I think you have to really want to do it. And someone has said it like, once you're ready for it, ayahuasca will call you. It sounds kind of like hippie BS for someone, but for me, there was definite like a kind of like a calling. Like I was not finding clarity through the books, reading and meditating, so I wanted to try it. So I did it in Spain. The place was called Amoraleza. I'll post a like link down below. I found it really good. Very great place. It was in Spain, in the mountains of close to Granada. They have like a hippie retreat there. It's like in that area, they're very liberal, and there are not that many laws. It's a little bit different than I think the rest of Spain. They have like self-schooling, homeschooling, and things like rules on these kinds of medicines are relaxed, I think, compared to other places in Spain. So it's totally legal. They've been doing it for 13 years. There's a couple. They're a couple, Lorenzo, and I think Sarah. I forgot the name now. I should remember. Um, Canadian woman and a French guy with their kids living there. They've been doing it for 13 years. So I did a lot of. So first off, important to do a lot of research where you want to do it. Most important thing I think is to do it in a place that is trust, like full of trust. If you just go to some place because you really want to do this thing, first off, you really have to like want to do this, and I think you should do it for the right reason. So if you just want to do it because you think it sounds like fun or it's like cool, that might not be the right reason. Again, you should really feel a calling because it's like a really deep experience. It'll I mean, there's always exceptions, but I would say it will shake your sense of reality to the core of your being. Like you'll never, like once you do it, there's no going back. It's very much like the Matrix, the red pill, the blue pill. But the Matrix is a movie, and this is everything you know. Like everything you think you know is about to change if you do this. And that sounds like an adventure and cool, but it's really deep. Like again, it's like brain surgery. Are you sure you want to do it? You really want to be sure. You have to have a strong motivation. So I want to give a quote. I found it really cool. It was Jordan Peterson. He talked about this. I don't think he has a lot of personal experience with it, but he quoted Carl Jung. And what he said, so Jordan Peterson quoted Carl Jung, and Carl Jung said this about psychedelics: be aware of unearned wisdom. Like be aware. And number two, be careful when entering the realm of the gods. You end up with a responsibility that might be more crushing than you can tolerate. And that's yeah. And then Jordan Peterson, Jordan Peterson, he said as well, it's more real than you want it to be. So watch the hell out. This is not games. This is not a fun, cool thing you want to do at a party. This shit is real. Um, and he also said, Jordan Peterson, be weary of wandering in realms that you're not competent to wander in. It's like kind of like a negative perspective on it. I've only done ayahuasca. I've not done any other like drugs. I did marijuana a couple of times, but I tripped like twice on marijuana or once before that, and I went straight to ayahuasca, which is like one of the craziest. You know, um, oh, I forget the name now. Anyway, it's one of the really deep ones. If you want to have a deep psychedelic experience, it's probably you're looking at ayahuasca, which is DMT, and you have it orally. You could smoke DMT, but then the trip is going to be like 15 minutes. It's going to be all. I hear it's all you basically shot into outer space, and it's hard to take anything from that. But ayahuasca is like a 5 hour journey. Mushrooms I've never tried. I hear it's similar, but apparently LSD also never tried. But ayahuasca is definitely one of the more self-introspective, you know, deeper drugs where you will really learn. I think every like the people at the retreat told me every trip is different. Like they've been tripping for 13 years, mm, and every time it's different. So it's very difficult to. Such a broad topic. It's such a deep topic. Um, that is hard to talk about, and even like classifying it. Even in a human mind, it's hard to grasp these things. So, but let's try. Mm, yeah. So that's the thing. Like what Jordan Peterson, like, be wary before you decide to do this. You have to be really sure. You have to really want this, because it's not like the Matrix. It's yeah. So if you've decided you want to do it, do research where you want to do it, because the environment is very important. You have to feel like you're being taken care of. You have to trust the people there. Um, that's very important, because basically you're entering into another realm, and like anything goes. And if you don't feel like you're in a safe place, it could go like it probably can go places you don't want it to go. So for the practical things, so what I did, I was told before the trip that there's certain things you cannot do, like you shouldn't drink alcohol, you shouldn't have sex, you should not eat meat, you should stay away from salt, you should not drink coffee. And I have to say that was like the craziest thing ever, like because cheers, I'm a heavy coffee drinker. Oh, it's so good. Joe Rogan, like I said once, drinking a cup of coffee is like getting a warm hug, and I totally agree. Yeah. So giving up coffee is difficult. Anyway, I did it for ayahuasca, and I really noticed like I was getting crazy headaches. I never have headaches. I got crazy headaches, and I was like a fiend for coffee. I was remember sitting in the airport in Barcelona like 9 a.m. I'd been up since like 4 to get there from Italy, and people were drinking coffee everywhere, and I couldn't drink, so I was like, man. So it's interesting to see how like addicted you are to things you don't even know. I didn't even know like coffee is like because I haven't been off it for since I started drinking it, I think. Anyway, so a lot of things you should prepare for. Guy, a guy that I was in the camp. He is interesting. Like he didn't have any experience at all. He was drinking ayahuasca. Nothing happened to him. Nothing happened to him. He felt like he was a little bit sick. He was drinking like fucking crazy. He was doing like triple dose. Nothing happened. So he's obviously very disappointed. He did a lot of mushrooms and stuff. So, but he thinks it was because he didn't prepare properly. Like he was thinking he did too much salt before. Like he didn't respect the rules. So be sure you do that. You really respect it. Because you're about if you do that, you're about to have a heavy experience. It'll be like a religious experience, nothing short of that. If for most people, I would say, yeah. So that's a preparation. You also that's like the physical preparation. So make sure you have a good place, a trusting place. Um, and then the physical preparation, the food intakes and everything, and then it's like the mental preparation, which is you should like if you're experienced in tripping like this, I think you're okay. But if you haven't done it before, there are certain things you should know because basically you're stepping into a different dimension. At least that's I can always speak from my experience. Like every trip is different, so I can't speak for anything. I can only talk from my point of view. You're basically literally stepping into a different realm, in the realm of gods, which Jordan Peterson said, and Carl Jung, and anything goes. So and there are certain things you should know before that could serve to help you in the trip. Like for example, if you yeah. So let's go through those things. Like I wrote down. So first of all, in the trip, you should. And I've made mistakes. I had two trips. The first night, I was not surrendering. I was fighting the trip because I was seeing crazy stuff, and it was I was getting paranoid, and I was not wanting to let go and surrender to the experience, and I went like straight to hell or purgatory. I'll tell more about the trip later, but and the second night, I understood that I had to give in, even though it's like it's the most terrifying or wonderful thing you'll ever experience. You're literally like you're it's like you're because you can't like everything you think you know now in this physical reality, you have to like all that shit goes out the window, and you're literally standing on the I don't know what the analogy would be, a cliff, and the and it goes a million miles down, and you have to jump, you have to trust. It's like literally that big of a decision to trust and to give in and to surrender. So accept, give in, don't resist, don't fight the trip, go with it. It's like roll with it. It's like a roller coaster. You want to ride, you want to lean in the corners. It's like surfing. It goes up and down. It has waves. Stay open. Stay open. Don't judge. Stay open. Because again, like everything you think you know, it's like it's not going to be valid. In this place. Um, and know that everything is love. Like everything is cool. Everything is going to be okay. Even if it seems terrifying, you see demons, whatever. It's all love. Meditate whilst the trip. I was sitting like in I guess you call it lotus position, meditating, breathing, having like an open posture, not like a closed. And this is all we're also told, we're getting briefings before I went down. Um, and there are certain things, don't close. Another thing is like you should wear white or light clothing, not black clothing. I'll explain to you why later, because one dude he wore black, and anyway. So yeah, so focus on the breath. When you're there, have like an anchoring point. That's often the breath, in meditation. Um, and just kind of you can step back from what is happening. If it gets too crazy, you can step back from it and realize that you're not, you know, because you still have your awareness in the trip. Like you're still you. And again, I'm just speaking for me. So you can still like interpret things happening in your human brain. Um, but it's like again, it's like you don't have the security of the physical reality. You're stepping into a different realm, and once you're there, you might feel everything is out the window now. Everything you thought you knew about reality isn't anymore. Everything you thought you lived, your whole timeline, your life, it's not real. That shit was fucking fake. And now you're in the reality. Now you're back to where you came from. So, so that can fuck with you, obviously, like in heavy ways. But if you can try to follow these rules, sit back, sit up, keep straight back, for example, or lie down, you'll have different experiences as you go along through the trip. Follow the music. There'll be music in the ceremony. Follow the music. You'll see that the music is tied heavily to the whole experience. It's an integral part. And I think it's a vibration part of the music. It like the whole everything. I'll talk about my trip. And you can, if she gets too crazy, you can ask Ayahuasca, the spirit, the goddess, whatever. You can ask her for help. You can ask her for help, and she will help you. So don't fight your visions. Like if you see demons, whatever, hand them a flower, hand them love, give them love. Everything is love. Like that's one of the things I learned as well. And all the hippies, everything is love. And so whatever you see, it's all coming from love. So if you can focus on love, the trip will change into love. Like you I don't want to use the word control, but you guide the trip. It's all in I'm not going to use the word control, but you can influence the trip. Yeah, love everything and yourself. That's the secret. And also after doing it, like immediately after, when you come out of it, just try and, I mean, you're going to be so fucked up, like you don't even, you're not going to take, but just remember everything is love, everything is love, everything is love. That's all it is. So, yeah, so that's basically some guidelines, some mental guidelines. I'll talk a little bit about what I experienced. Maybe you'll find it interesting. So I was there. We were sitting in a tent, like huge outside in the mountains. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place. Starry night, almost like a movie. And there was a fire in the middle. There was like the sort of the altar, or like where the people guiding the ceremony was sitting. They also drink ayahuasca. The people, sort of the guides, they're used to it, so they're cool. And the musicians as well, sitting there, live music, of course. They're not, they're playing live music with various instruments. And then there's, the fire pit in the middle, also like an integral part of it, at least in my experience. And also that you get like a bucket, because the purge they call it, is part of the experience. So you're gonna like probably throw up. Like you're gonna throw up like you never, like you think you've thrown up before, but you're gonna throw up like the way you're gonna throw up is gonna make light. It's gonna put all your other throwing ups to shame, and you might have diarrhea too. It didn't happen to me. I was throwing up the second night. I did it twice. The first night I didn't. The second night I did. I was also tied to the fact that I was not surrendering at the first night, so I didn't have the purge. The throwing up is part of it, so it's like a cleansing. Yeah, so you get a bucket, you get water, stuff like this to clear up the to drink, and also to stay hydrated, and to clear up the throw up basically. And yeah, and there was also one person, she was not drinking. She was making sure that everyone were cool and following the rules. If people wander outside, she was making sure that they were not wandering off. And people didn't talk to each other. Like you're not supposed to engage with other people during a trip. You should not do that. Like one guy came to me and I was tripping, and I was just like, man, and I was happy that the woman came and said, don't talk to each other. I was just like, man, it's like, okay, you have enough by yourself. Okay, so then and that was it. We were doing it. We started like 8 o'clock in the evening, and so basically what happened to me is that I was yeah you get a cup, you drink, and you sit back, and I was entering the the lotus position, chilling, breathing, and what happened is that after about half an hour, something like that, time clearly just goes out the window. Everything like everything you think you know about this world just it goes out the window. What happened is that I was noticing like my body was becoming very heavy, and I was like my breath was sort of like very getting very loud, like woof. I was really like woof, getting heavy and like feeling like whoa, like something is going on here. And then suddenly I was looking around. So we're sitting in a circle around the fire, like 25 people drinking. And yeah, and suddenly the other people changed shape. So it I would describe it, it was like augmented reality. So what you saw was still real, but it changed, like it morphed, reality morphed in front of me. I was still sitting on like the the mattress and the pillow, and other people as well. The fire was there, but people morphed, and I got the sensation like suddenly it was almost like, and this sentence came to me like hidden in plain sight. Like I was entering and into a different dimensional space that was this place. It was reality, but it was also a different thing. So it's like, and again, this is just my, experience or interpretation of it, but it's like I was tuning to a different frequency that I couldn't access before, that showed this reality, but a different aspect, like more aspects to it. And I was sort of entering into this place, and was like sort of seeing the same thing, but a different thing. It's hard to explain. And what I saw is that everyone were like, the woman next to me, she was like thousands of years old. Like it was her, but her hair was just like into like almost like a avatar type thing with like braids, and like her skin was totally different. It was almost like she was a different species. She was still human, but different species. Her clothes were different. Everything changed, but it was her in the essence. So everything took on this. I didn't dare to look at my own hands because I was like, scared to freak out, because this is like the first thing that happened to me. It's almost like a little bit weird and scary, and then like, whoa, you're like, whoa, like I remember like looking up, and like everything is just like, whoa, like the veil of reality was just like you're just like looking past the curtain that is in front of your eyes all the time, like the Matrix thing, like you're seeing between the lines, or something. I don't know how to explain it. And yeah, so let's see, this is still recording. Obviously. Oh, yeah, it's still recording. Yeah, and and then and that was kind of like weird, you know, because I've never seen that before ever. So it's not just like what you see, but what you feel too. Like you're basically a different place. And the feeling that I had was that I was coming back to a place that I'd always been before. That it was basically like before entering this human body, there's another realm, there is a place, and that's where we came from. And I felt like I was going back to that place, and I was seeing, like people, the woman that was next to me, 1,000 years old, whatever. That was just this is a random number. It's just like a feeling. She's super old. That was her, like your inner being, or real higher self sitting. And this one experience she had, I saw like her whole lifeline, And I want to say, like before that experience, I didn't know fuck all about any like the spiritual stuff, nothing. I fucking didn't know anything. Okay, what I've done, I was reading like Eckhart Tolle. Okay, that's the extent of my spiritual, sort of um, that was like the extent of my spiritual knowledge. Eckhart Tolle, he's like, being the now. I'm not too. I loved Eckhart, but didn't talk about any of this shit. Like I didn't like I didn't know any of this shit. So it's not like I was reading this before and then I'm tripping, and then the trip confirmed what I already knew. I didn't know this shit. Like, this is new to me. In retrospect, I was reading, different books, and they all coincided with Paraswa and Ayahuasca. So that's why these books now make a lot of sense to me, because I already saw it, and I didn't create the trip from the books that I've been reading, because I hadn't read this shit before. So I just wanted to say that. Yeah, and so I had the sense that I came back to this place that we originally came from. Let me just let me check that, like, my AirPods are like because I want to make sure that I don't run out of battery. Left is low. Open some parentheses. Sorry about this. Because I can. Where can I choose which speaker to use? I should have done this before. I should have done this. Bluetooth preference. That's what it is. AirPods options. Oh, right. Okay, so it's using right. That's correct. Okay, cool. Anyway, sorry about that. Yeah. So no, sorry. Lost track. Yeah, so I didn't know any of this before. So basically, so I was feeling like I was coming back to a place that was very familiar, and I was getting information to its heart. It was like download some information was given to me. It wasn't like I couldn't read it or anything. It was like a knowing. You know what I mean? It's like you're receiving information from where, I don't know. And the feeling is that we are, like, I've forgotten who I am. Like, I just in this body, you just forget who you are. You don't know who you are. Like, you're kind of like sleeping. And so you wake up. I woke up there, and it was just like, oh man, I'm like much older than this. I've done much more than this. So the whole reincarnation thing from various religions, that made a lot of sense. All of a sudden, that made sense from what I was experiencing there. Yeah. So, and then the white clothing, black clothing, and what happened is that there was a guy sitting like basically in front of me, like 20 meters, something like that, 50 feet, and he was wearing like black pants, and everything else was white, and he literally turned into a fucking demon. Like the dark clothes made him a fucking demon, like a real one, and I can talk about it now, but once you're there in that trip, that is real. Like, you're sitting opposite demons, like, yeah. So it started like freak me out. And then I was going into, but actually, let me first go. It's hard to. There's no time answer, but let me finish the lessons I got, the downloads that I got. So we are infinite beings. That's number one. This body experience. First of all, this physical thing you're in now, that's not everything. There's a different reality. There are different dimensions, and that are interacting with this reality all the time, but you just don't see it in real life. Okay, I'm not saying this is how it is, by the way. I'm just saying that's how I perceived it to be. I don't claim to know how reality works. I have no clue. But once you experience, and if you haven't done this, like Richard Dawkins, he talks a lot about there's no religion, everything is bullshit. Well, he's never done this shit, okay? It's like and the people that have done this, they kind of know. And it's hard to talk to people that haven't done this because they don't know. I'm sorry, like you have to do this shit, okay? Because to you it sounds like, oh, it's like a dream. It's fucking different, okay? It's different. But again, I'm not claiming to know the truth. This is what I felt. This is my inner knowing. I don't want to. Everyone can believe what they want. So anyway, yeah. So we're infinite beings. We've forgotten who we are. That was the main thing I got in the beginning there. And then the guy turned into a demon, and then I was freaking out. And then as I freaked out, things got worse. Like, other people turned into demons. So that's another lesson that I learned. Like, as you emit, as you think, the reality changes. Like, as you think, like, if you're happy and feeling good and giving love, hence the advice before, give love, you get love back. the reality, what happened, the manifestation in front of me in the trip just fucking changed based on my thinking and my feeling. I was fearful. Shit, they turned into demons, all of them. The way they walked, hobbling, like I was in a conspiracy, like they were like, kidnapped me into different dimensions. But then as I was learning, the day after, I was opening up, actually 2 days after the second trip, I was giving love, everything became like heaven, became like angels. So the learning was that as you think, as you feel, that's what comes back to you, like the law of attraction thing. And in the ayahuasca thing, that was instant, it was instant. It just happened instantly. And so the question is, does this thing happen as well in normal life too, maybe? But there's like a slight delay. But that was my conclusion after the trip. Like basically, if you give love, you receive love, also in this life. If you focus on negative shit, that's what you get. And just look around you, like, people always complain about being sick, blaming everyone else, living in this life. That's what they get back. I talk about this also in the other video I did yesterday, a few days ago. I talk about like yeah, like conditional living, unconditional living, as you think, how important it is to sort of guide your thoughts, because I think things come back to you, and this is more like a spiritual side of that. So anyway, um, yeah, and then the feeling, and then I was seeing like pyramids made out of rainbows appearing, then like crazy animations were coming, like reality just morphing. It's like pyramids, and like and this artwork, this 3D molding, ever changing, insane. I don't know what you call it. Like almost like have you seen the movie like Abyss, where you see this like forms of like made out of like water morphing and changing in 3D. It was like that almost artwork, and the artwork was like heavily from like I would almost say like Egyptian or South American like old pieces of work. It's hard to, I'm not an art person, so it's hard to explain, but it was like that. So it's just like interesting because the ayahuasca itself came from South America. That was sourced from South America. So it's like it's almost like the liquid itself, the ayahuasca, the plants they carried with them from where they came from. The cultures, and of course ayahuasca is called the vine of souls. Like the yeah. So anyway, and DMT, which is the ingredient in ayahuasca, is called the spirit molecule, like the spirits. You enter the realm of the spirits. So that's why. Yeah. Um, so the thinking out like all the lessons that I got, like so many different things. Yeah, and then I saw all these different art, like crazy things happening. Later in the trip, I was walking outside and like literally the sky just came down to me, like the stars. Um, and then yeah, it's interesting. The music, as the musicians were playing, they were like the music, the vibrations of the songs were like interacting with what I saw. So everything like moved together. How the art was like moving with the music, changing, and also like how my trips um, was changing with the music, like with the lyrics. And yeah, so the second night I kind of like surrendered. So the first night I didn't surrender. I was like fighting. I was constantly fighting this thing. I went to like purgatory time. I was trapped in a time loop. I thought I was fucked forever, and it was like terrible, like horrible, like most frightening thing like I could ever experience. And then the next 2 days after I did the second trip, I almost didn't want to do it. Like I didn't want to do it the second trip because it was so crazy. And actually, after the first trip, I felt like my whole world had like fallen apart. It, it's hard to explain. It's like everything you think you know is not how it is. This was after like the day after I was like, so I was not under any influence. It's like my brain was like defragged. It's like if you get like really terrible news, like your whole family has died or something, like something fucking crazy has happened in your life, and then you go to sleep and you wake up, and then for a second you think it's not real, but then you realize, oh, it's real. Like fuck, like your life changed in ways you can never go back. Like they're all gone. It's like it was as heavy, you know, because everything like your parents, your mom, your school, like time, everything was like, no, that's not how it is. So that's, I think that was that's why I was quoting this thing in the beginning, like from Jordan Peterson, and Carl Jung, that it's like be careful because you get a responsibility you might not tolerate. But that's another thing. Like I think if you have certain history in your family of like schizophrenia and stuff, you shouldn't do this. Like some people should not do this, you know, for various reasons. But look into that. Yeah. So I was regretting it after the first night because it was too heavy. Like I wouldn't wish this on anyone. Like this crushing. Yeah. Everything you think you know is gone. Like reality is like melted away. Yeah. And anyway, so I decided I had to do a second trip. And then I was decided I'm gonna give up now. I'm gonna let go. I'm gonna give in to ayahuasca, and I did. Second trip, I saw actually ayahuasca came to me. Like people talk about her, like she comes in the form of a serpent, a snake, or a woman. It's I think a tiger, panther. To me, she came to me as like a squid, like a liquid serpent slash squid, and I basically like gave her permission to. I said like okay, because I had some stuff I wanted to like I needed answers in my life. And I was like, oh, like whatever I need to do, I'll do it. So I was like, fuck, like even though I'm terrified, let's do it. I don't care. I need clarity. Let's go. So I granted her access, and she literally like her tentacles. It was like an octopus almost. Like came to me, like took over my brain, and just like, and then I was like, I was hers. I was like, okay, this is it. Like, Hail Mary. Just fucking do a Hail Mary, you know. So I was motivated to find answers. So if you're not very motivated, it might not be the right thing because you might, not grant the access, or maybe you're just more ballsy than me. I don't know. Yeah. So then she took me, and yeah, she took me into like deep dark places. It felt like she was pulling me into my own subconscious mind. She showed me like all my insecurities and the fears that I have, and all the problems. She showed me like deep dark places in the form of, and this time I was like, closing my eyes, so I didn't see the reality anymore. I just saw her world, and it was like horrible deep places that was cold, stinking. And then what happened is I was like starting to, after she dragged me through hell, basically, I was like starting to like convulge, and I was just like, oh my god, and then I was like, oh my god, I have to throw up, and then I went to the bucket, and then I literally threw up like all the bad stuff, the place she take me like to my fear and insecurities. I was like literally like physically throwing up all those my problems, let's say. And I saw her inside the bucket, like helping me, putting all tentacles inside my mouth. And I was like, it's fucking insane. It's just like there's no words. And then after I'd thrown up like I've never thrown up before, ever, ever, ever. And I was motivated to do this shit. So I was like, whatever it takes, let's fucking do this. I was just like, almost thinking you're almost gonna die, or like anyway, you already died because you're not here anymore. Like you are somewhere else. Like you're in the hands of someone else. Like I figured maybe it's already over anyway. So yeah, and then I was after throwing up like crazy. I sat back, and then like I don't know how to explain it, but like heaven, the light and love from heaven came down, and like I just think about it now, it's like really heavy, like crazy. Like almost are you crying? It's like so heavy, It's like yeah, it's like I think I might be crying now. It's like so heavy because Yeah. Okay, let's move on. So basically, I saw that like uh, whew, 2 years ago. Just running coffee. Man, I didn't plan for this. So it's like, lot, lot of memories came back all of a sudden. Yeah, but basically, I saw that everything is love. Everything, like everything is love. Then I got the message like the only thing that matters here in this physical world, or what you're trying to achieve, however you want to say it, is love. That's the deepest, that's the only thing real here in this reality that is worth anything, you know. And and once you have that experience, again, that's like the hippies talk about love, 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 everything is love, but if you don't have this, you know, I understood all of a sudden what I meant by that, and I understood like in my life, you know, how important and how that's the only thing, and related to like relationships and family relationships, like everything. So like, whew, heavy shit. Like 2 years ago, man, I'm still like, so you see how impactful this is still, crazy. So that was a big thing. Like love is everything. It's a good thing. And some people know that, and other people they have to have crazy experiences to wake up, or what I want to call it. Um, yeah, so crazy. All right. So I think that's most of the stuff. So to summarize what I learned from my experience, I'm not saying this is real, but this is what I got from it. You are infinite beings. There is no such thing as death. Um, you don't have to be worried or scared about anything because we're all eternal. We're like gods. Everything is love. That's the only purpose here on earth. Like that's the main one, at least, that you need to find love. Um, so, and also as you give love, you get love back. If you give out negativity, you get negativity back. And I came from a place of negativity, before that. And so these lessons for me were very personal, and I've seen it in my life too. Like if you focus on negative shit, that's what you get back. And in ayahuasca, it was instant. And yeah, so in your reality, in the normal world, you should think about love, focus on love. I talk more about that in the other video I did. Let go of fear. Like you just never worry about anything. You just have faith in whatever you need to have faith in. Like it's all good. All is gonna work out. And that people here on Earth, most of them didn't know what they're doing. They're just sleeping. They're just trying to figure shit out. They're just and they don't know. They just forgotten who they are. That's the main lessons that I got from that experience. And after the experience, it's been like a year and a half now. I've been reading stuff. I've been like come to read a lot of books and materials. And the reason I'm so interested in this now is because like those books that I'm reading now, they all like correspond to what I was learning in ayahuasca. Like because I like like once you see that thing, you're like and if people talk about that reality or whatever, like how this reality interacts with other reality, I like, wow, this is interesting. They know something because they've seen that because I've experienced that. So very interesting. So I'm getting more and more deeper into this, like, and this whole, spiritual awakening, whatever you want to call it, like this, it's like so interesting. It's like this crazy rabbit hole, and it just gets better and better and better. And oh, one thing, it's called like the integration process. So once you have the trip, it's cool, but now if you should, how do you integrate what you learn in the trip back into your real life? Because you get a lot of lessons, like you're shown a lot of things, you learn a lot, and maybe the most difficult part is like how do you now bring that back into life once you go back to your job, your normal life, where people are like droning around. You step back into the out of the matrix, and and that's called the integration process, and that's kind of what I've been working on for the last year and a half, whatever. And that for me, that was like learning about how you think, thoughts, and emotions, and this, I don't know, whole aspects of us being like gods, and like whole that like religion takes on a whole new light, and the Bible just becomes something else all of a sudden because yeah, once you see behind the curtains, you're like, okay, there's something else. This fucking thing, and then like quantum physics and weird things like law of attraction and like channeling and all that shit starts to make sense to you. Like it's like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah, that's that's what I experienced. So yeah, anyway, but again, it's a personal thing, like I don't claim to know the truth. I don't know. I have no clue. But for me, and everyone needs to fix. It's you don't learn through reading. You only learn through experience, and that's it. I think I'll wrap it up now. I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching, for listening about my personal story. Yeah, have a wonderful day. Kisses. If you liked the episode, give it like a like or subscribe to the channel. I'll try to put more stuff. Um, I think that's it. All right, let's wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching. Love you guys. See you. Bye.